Welcome to the Plan B podcast. I'm Jean Falakawa. Today my guest is going to be Vadim Fedotov, is the CEO of BioniQ. Vadim.
Hey man, how you doing?
I'm very good. You?
Amazing.
Cool. I'm so happy to have you back today. And where are you? I thought that you were flying in between Moscow and...
I was in Dubai yesterday. I arrived today in Moscow. I'm flying to Munich end of next week. So it's been quite a whirlwind so far. 2022.
Yeah, you look like... Yeah, well, you started very fast with those acquisitions. You're going to talk about it in a couple of minutes, but I'm impressed. The way that your business is going at this time is like supersonic speed.
Thank you. And the funny part is that's just the beginning. Where I announced a lot of big things very soon. So 2022, it's going to be a big year for us.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to see you up north in America. Huh?
That's the next news. So stay tuned. I'll be in North America in March. We're planning to have a first pop-up event there.
Are you coming to the bio? Oh, okay, not to the Biohacker Congress in Las Vegas.
No, I'm coming to New York because we're having an event there. But this is the start for us.
Okay, nice. I'm looking forward to. You're gonna send me the dates and everything, I guess.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So Vadim is a former sportsman, a basketball player, professional. He's probably twice my height, 2 meters something, 2 meters 6. I guess. Yeah, 204. Okay, I'm not gonna tell mine, but. And from basketball, actually, he was the CEO of Gazprom, big company, big organization in Russia. You've been very successful in your career. You're not that old, and you have a long track record as not only entrepreneur, but an elite CEO, which is very impressive for your less than 40 years. You're 36 or 37, I think.
I turned 37 last week, so yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so that's very promising. And BioniQ, you founded this company in 2019. So to refresh the memory to our audience, why don't we talk about how did you start BioniQ and why, and what is the exact concept of BioniQ?
Of course. Thank you again for having me. So the idea is very simple. When I was working in the corporate world, as typical as people are, once they turn 30 plus, we start thinking more about our health, what we can do, how can we improve it. So we read a lot of books. We start looking at our diets. We're looking what can we improve ourselves. And while doing all this, I start spending more and more time and money on my health. And I realized the more time and money I spent, it actually don't directly feel better. So I would have brain fogs. I would be not in the best shape. My performance athletically would not improve. And I was wondering, how can somebody like me who spends so much time and money and resources on health improvement not get those health improvements that I was aiming for? And this is the moment when I started to find out more and more that, you know what, I should probably talk to doctors, traditional doctors, who should tell me what's going on in my body. So
they're probably the best to talk to.
Certainly, they should be. I mean, they study, that's what they're getting paid for. So I'm reaching out to one of the leading doctors and endocrinologists to talk about myself. And the doctor's asking me, so what do you do? I'm like, well, this is my workout regimen. He's like, what do you eat? So I'm like, this is my diet. And he's like, what kind of supplements do you take? I'm like, this is the supplements I take. And
so you were already taking some supplements. Okay.
Something off the shelf, like we all do. We was taking vitamin K, vitamin D, vitamin C, something.
And we don't even,
we don't know. And we're going to talk about it in a second. So I'm checking all this stuff. The doctor's like, listen, your training regimen is wrong. Your vitamins are wrong. Your diet is wrong. And I'm like, okay, good. He's like, so what do I do now? He's like, we'll do a blood test. And then once you come back, I'll tell you exactly what to do. So I pay, I remember now, like $1,000 for a blood test, which was super expensive. He does this extensive blood analysis. I come back a week later, and I'm expecting him to tell me, hey, this is wrong with you. This is what you have changed. What's going on? And I come to him. He prints out my results. He gives like a 20-second stare at the blood result. And he's like, no, you're fine. I'm like,
so the blood was fine, but Still, yeah.
I'm like, you just told me last week that my regimen, my diet, my supplements are wrong. My symptoms, my brain fog, my tiredness, my energy loss, my concentration problems are still there, and you tell me I'm fine. How does this work? And he's like, listen, I'm a doctor. If you're ill, I treat you. But if there is no illness, I can not do anything for you.
True, huh?
So I'm like, no, traditional medicine at this given moment is not working for me. I need to find something different. I thought maybe it's a doctor, so I looked at different doctors. I was like, maybe it's a system. And then I realized that in the world at that given moment, this was 2017, 2018, there's nothing going on in terms of that tracks health and tells me personalized what to do for me to improve myself.
True.
And this is the moment where I was like, you know what? Okay, if this doesn't exist in the market that I live in, so I was between Europe and Russia, like maybe there's something like this in the US. I'm pretty sure there is something like this in the US. And
it was not.
It was not. It was not like this in the US. And I realized, you know what? There might be something in this market. So I looked, what is there? And I looked at different approaches. Now, like there's some companies that do something about, information about yourself, like DNA testing. Some companies do home testing.
Yeah, DNA was like kind of present in the United States for, yeah.
It started. The problem with DNA is your DNA doesn't change.
No.
For me to track my health based on DNA is almost pointless because there is no big change. DNA is very important on chronic diseases, but it's not important in terms of tracking your development.
Correct.
So after this happened, and I realized, okay, so there's people want information about themselves. People want to do it on a regular basis. And people want solutions personalized to them. Why is there not something like this already existing? Because number one question is like, oh, this has to exist. Why would?
And it's so, when you think about it, it's so obvious. It's so like every single idea that are tremendous in this world are just like, why anyone thought about it before?
Yeah, this is the exact number one reaction. Whenever I tell people what I do, they're like, that exists beforehand. I'm like, yeah, but no. He's like, what do you mean no? That's the most logical thing there is. Why would you buy an omega-3 which says 2 pills on it, and you drink 2 pills, I drink 2 pills, and my parents or my girlfriend, whoever drinks 2 pills, if they don't need it?
Yeah.
So this is the point where it's like, it makes so much sense that it's almost painful that it didn't exist. And this is how BioniQ happened. BioniQ happened when I was researching what can be done in terms of tracking your health, what parameters are important to analyze your health, and what solutions are out there who can impact your health. This is when I realized, okay, this were personalized micronutrients based on regular blood testing can improve your overall cognitive physical function as well as decrease your illnesses.
So the goal that you set up was like going after biomarkers to find out which one are to improve and which one are not. Okay. Yes. And then BioniQ is quite well known for supplements at the base. When you look at the company, everyone think, oh, BioniQ, yeah, supplement stuff.
So that's the thing. That's a very important part. You as a client, as a person who buys it, your first idea is I want to get customized micronutrients, customized supplements.
Mm-hmm.
Me as a company, the supplements are just a result of us tracking you.
Oh, that's fair.
For us, I want to understand what goes on inside of you. Do you need health improvements? Are you medically ill? Do you need pharmaceuticals?
We all need it.
do you need solutions for your intake, your food intake, nutrition, dietitians? Do you need supplementation? Do you need athletic recommendations? Or do you need sleep improvements? Because we all underappreciate how important sleep for our body is. So this is what everything is coming together. So for us as a company, I'm tracking you from the inside. You as a client, you take the personalized micronutrient because they have your name on it. And that's that's fine by me because the result is the same. You as a client, you get on a regular basis, quantifiable tracking mechanisms, what goes inside of you. And me as a company can provide you solutions tailored to you.
Okay, tell me something. So you provide the supplement and you provide and what is particular in your company is like one pill contains different supplement, which is like kind of very, very clever. I do remember, those people that take 100 pills one after the other because they like supplement. And I was one day thinking, damn, if somebody was coming with one pill that regroups everything. Like when you go to buy some chocolates or candies or even coffee or tea, you can make a mix and get whatever you want. Why don't we have that for supplements? So you've been very clever to do that. The process, you're going to explain us how to do it. But are you telling people the right time to take those supplements as well? Because I've recently learned that is super crucial.
So this is the important part. So we didn't invent this. 25 years, a company in Switzerland realized that traditional vitamins, the way they are coming in a pill form, they spike your insulin to be better absorbed.
Yeah.
Second part is, so there is gelatin in there or there's carbs in there to spike insulin. The second part is not all ingredients can be taken at the same time because they block each other. Some of them block each other.
Right.
So when you tell me that people take 120 pills per day, they don't take them at once. They take some 2 hours, then 4 hours, then 6 hours, and 8 hours.
Oh, the one I've seen, they go like done for the day.
Well, then the problem is with they don't understand the mechanism of absorption.
Right.
So in the clinical trials that my co-founder did before we launched BioniQ together, he would take blood every 2 hours from people to see what the absorption levels when they happen, what happens best, what's the best time to take them. And then instead of taking traditional vitamins in a pill form, he would try out to give them in a granular form, which is patented in Switzerland, which we are using in our vitamins.
So tell us, what is the difference? So granular, it's because they're those small kind of bubbles that are inside of...
Exactly. Yeah. So this is perfect timing. So when you talked about this, so you get a granule pill like this.
Nice. Yeah. With different colors too.
Exactly. So inside of this, so you would get a bottle with my name, and then everybody would get a different kind of recipe.
Just gonna put my glasses on.
Yeah. So the idea is because it's granules, you only get exactly what your body needs at the given moment. And your body is constantly changing. So we do a blood test every 2-3 months. Your diet changed, the weather changed, your stress level changed, the weight changed. Anything can change. You traveled a lot, you didn't travel a lot. You sat at home the entire time. You were asleep, you were exactly.
Yeah.
So the idea of the granules, nice thing about the granules is they contain up to 120 different components, micronutrients, microelements, vitamins, herbs that your body needs, and only based on what your body needs right now you get. And because they come in granules, they're being absorbed. It's called slow absorption mechanism. They're being absorbed over 12 hours.
Okay, that...
You take this, and there's a micro dosage that keeps absorbing the whole entire time. This way, you take it in the morning, you take it in the evening, and you don't have to think about what's blocking each other, what's being absorbed, when should I take it? You just take it, and that's it.
Because the absorption is gradual and it goes during the time. This is fantastic, actually. Yeah. Because most of the time, sorry, Vadim, but most of the time, the supplements that are available off the shelf, they're just like dissolved right away, and it's a waste because you don't absorb them in your blood totally. You actually reject them for about 80%.
So that's the problem, and I don't want to badmouth anybody, but
you can.
No, I mean, take them off the shelf. You take right off the shelf. There's a couple problems with them. Now, one problem is the dosage is not customized, and most likely you don't need it, or
right
more of it. So what companies do is they want to make sure, because number one goal of any company is not to harm. So I think we would all agree. Do no harm.
Well, no, we're every company that is making supplement or trying to improve health is not there to harm people, or there to help them. Yeah.
But the number one goal is, if you take any scientist of any respectable company, is like, I want to make sure it's safe.
Yeah.
And because they want to make sure it's safe, they do dosages that are safe for everyone. So for example, if a kid drinks a pill, it should not hurt the kid.
Right.
But because this dosage doesn't hurt the kid, it will not help me. So the idea is, if you take them off the shelf pills, the reason why you say 80% of them are not efficient, well, they're not efficient because they have to be safe for everyone. This is the reason why.
Yeah.
This is the reason why you can't expect. So when you go to a traditional company, what you get is something that will minimally impact you,
It depends because there's a couple of companies. Allow me to say that, but I know some company providing melatonin, for example, to help for sleep, and the content of those pills can vary from 1 to 10,000 in the same box.
This is and this is not the important part, where you don't know if it's 1 or 10,000 what you need. So all I'm saying is, if you take something off the shelf and you don't know how much you need because you don't have the blood, it's impossible to get it right.
Okay, that's correct. I agree. Yeah. Okay, that's the idea. Okay, and so this Swiss-based company was making those granules before you jumped into
for 25 years. So when we did the 7 years of research, we did already with them together. So okay, this is our strategic supplier. We're strategically for the march that we're the sole supplier of those vitamins. So this is very important for us, just because there's so much research behind.
Okay, how thick a businessman like you that has so much background, how thick are the contract and the NDA with that company to make sure that you're protected?
Let's put it like this. I think 27 competitors have approached them so far. Of course, and as you see, we're still here and talking about expansion. So we feel quite confident in our partnerships.
Well, and you're bringing them results as well, so they must be happy. Yeah.
So win-win.
Yeah. But that's pretty cool, actually. So you went through all these things. Can you tell our audience how it works? From, let's say, okay, I want to start. What do I do? Where do I start? And what are the steps?
So as of today, we have one global product. It's called BioniQ. You would go at website BioniQ.com. On the BioniQ.com website, there you will see 3 products. The most personal one's called BioniQ Live, where after you make the purchase, a client manager will reach out to you and will book a nurse that comes to your home. So
somebody reached out to you.
Yes.
In real, or you're using like a cold bolts and
so there's 3 products. The premium one, there's somebody in real, so your personal health concierge will reach out to you, and then a nurse will come to your home or office, wherever it's convenient for you. So we completely want to make sure that we are at your doorstep and making sure that you have to leave your environment to enjoy personalized supplements and health overall. The second,
if you said, sorry, if you're sending me a sexy nurse, yes, I'm going to enjoy the process.
Unfortunately.
Can we choose? No. Just kidding.
I've customized the experience to that. I think that yours is not yours. I apologize.
And you have the most beautiful woman in Russia.
Again, the geolocation was not chosen.
I love it.
You forget one thing. I've been in corporate for 13 years.
It's true. Yeah, true. In fact,
I've been in media way too long.
Yeah, fine.
We try to make sure that professionalism is given, considering the fact that this is a health medtech company. So after the purchase, we would reach out and book an appointment where the nurse comes to you. At the medium product, you would go to one of our partner laboratories. So we're in 1,500 cities all over the world. We're a partner laboratory. You can do a bionic test, or if you're right now in the US or in Canada or in other countries that we're not present with, you could do a BioniQ, which uses our clinical data, where based on clinical data, you receive your Swiss micronutrients. So there's 3 products, depending on where you are. So if you are in Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Netherlands, UK, UAE, Russia, Ukraine, you can use the personalized system with the nurses. And if you're anywhere else in the world, you can use BioniQ product, which will supply you personalized micronutrients based on the clinical data.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. Can you tell us more before we step to the rest of the process? Can you tell us more what kind of analysis that you run, and how many parameters, and what are they? Or not all, of course, but roughly. Yeah.
But the super important part is the following. The more data you have, the less data you need. So when we started off, we would take 150 blood parameters, literally almost everything what you just track. Then we realized that some of them are intertwined. So if you take this, you don't need that. The more you know on a ferritin level, iron level, B6, B12, you don't need all of that because they are intertwined. They show each other.
So
So
true.
now we're at the point where we take either 28 or 50 blood parameters. Those are focused on either micronutrients, so in terms of your omega levels, your vitamin D levels, zinc, iron levels.
Mm-hmm.
And we could talk a little bit later about what the most deficiencies we see, because we have so much data sets now in different countries, in different regions. This is very, very eye-opening. And the more extensive one, besides that, also tracks anything in terms of preventiveness, in terms of, are you inclined to get type 2 diabetes? Do you have problems with your cholesterol levels?
Oh, yeah,
Are
of
you
course.
inclined to have problems with your heart? So there's a lot of parameters. Then you choose, do you want to focus on your intake, or do you want to focus on the intake plus preventiveness?
Okay. So blood markers, biomarkers, genetic part of it as well,
So
all the way.
the genetic part is very interesting. When we see that your blood markers do not change over time, let's say you come, like I am the best example. When I started, my bilirubin, my liver function was very, very high. So I would start taking the micronutrients. I would adjust my diet. I would do the workouts. And 2 months later, my bilirubin was still high. It didn't change. Okay, they changed the dosage. Okay, we'll do it again. 2 months later, so 4 months in, it still was high, did not change. This is the moment where the system told me we need to do a DNA test to see if I have any chronic issues. And what we found out is I have a defect called the Gilbert defect, which is actually quite common with men, where your liver has a limited functionality. The only thing you can change there is the portion size. So DNA becomes important when you need to have insights. What are the things that are chronically with you?
I see. Okay.
You use the blood to track and the DNA to manifest if this is chronic or if this is something timely.
So the DNA comes as a second step if you want to go deeper.
If you need to go deeper.
If you need, not if you want, if you need. Correct. Good point. That is interesting, because in terms of saving money, it's quite good. I know that blood tests are becoming less expensive now, but they're still quite expensive for the majority of people. But Sergey was one of your colleague, actually. Sergey was always saying, start by doing a blood test is the first step to control your health and your longevity. So you're right there. After you got those results, everything. So we're at the step number 3, I guess.
Yes. So this is when you found out, and then once you adjusted bilirubin, my bilirubin has been normal range for 3 years now.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Going on. So this is the breakthrough for me, because it showed to me what was wrong with me, what I could change through daily habits, and what I had to change in terms of just overall understanding that I have limitations as a person.
Interesting. So after 2-3 months that people are on an app or somewhere, they check the result, guidance. The burden of all these things, and tell me, because I haven't tried it yet, but the burden of all these, I really want to see that. It's I found out that it's good to have biomarkers and trackers and stuff like that. How do you gather the information that is provided by the user? Is it by biofeedback? Is it manually and entered into your profile? How does that work?
So we are integrated with the largest medical laboratories globally. So once the nurse or you go to a laboratory and you do the blood test, the data automatically appears in your app and in your dashboard.
Okay.
In addition to that, we also partner with companies like Whoop and Aura, where there's additional data sets that you can do from your trackers. And thirdly and lastly is, if you have historic results, we're working currently that you can upload them. So we have a bigger, larger feedback loop on you, so we know what has been going on with you in the past. So the idea is to create a history. The more history we have on you, the more concrete and customized we can create solutions for you, which you need at this given moment. So the integration is very seamless. So you are with us, the blood's in the laboratory, you will have it in your app 3 to 4 days later.
Wow. Okay. Now you got something that triggered my interest even more. You talked about integration. Are we talking about artificial intelligence and all these tools that are available now?
So there's a couple of things that people talk. Anybody who talks about artificial intelligence doesn't know what it is.
I'm one of them.
because
That's not
artificial intelligence in that kind of way that you and I expected doesn't exist to that extent. We call it machine learning, where you have algorithms that keep teaching themselves and keep improving themselves. But the algorithms still have to initially be based on us, on the findings, and they will take it from there. What's very important to us, the more data we have, not just from your blood, but also from your daily habits, the better we understand, the better feedback. One of the benefits people say from BioniQ is they say their sleep, they improve their sleep quality. They sleep deeper, they wake up more energized.
Well, there's a ton of trackers now for that. Yeah.
That's perfect. Whoop and Aura are perfect because
they're good.
Tell you, you feel it, you actually see it. Your percentile of sleep improvement has been 12, 14, 16%.
Yeah.
So this is amazing for us, and it's amazing for you to actually see before and after what's going on inside of you. So the more information. So, for example, if I tomorrow, and I work out, let's say 10, 12 times a week, right? And I would do a blood test, and you're a doctor, and you have no idea who I am. You would see, and you think my testosterone is a little bit too low, and my protein is too low for a normal guy. But then if you would see me and see how much I work out, you'd be like, oh my God, this is perfect. Of course it's low, because somebody with your volume of training, it cannot be higher because your bodies keep constantly, restoring its capability. So
that's it.
This is something
I got that. You know what, Vadim? I got exactly that issue when I made a blood test recently. They were telling me testosterone is a bit too low and my iron was too much in my blood, but it's because I train a lot. Yeah.
This is a point where people ask us the benefits for us. If you go to a doctor, one doctor on average can have 150, 200 patients at most. So the chance that the doctor has somebody who's similar to you, who works out as much as you do, who does all those things that you do, is very, very minimal. That he has a client like me, 6'9", 260 pounds.
I'm half.
Yeah, exactly. So this is, but when you have a system with 50,000 people in it, there's people like me in there, there's people like you in there. And the more we keep growing, there's more people. The more they will see, hey, there's a 37-year-old with a testosterone at 14. It's either low because he has a bad living habit, or it's low because his workouts are hostile.
Right.
And there's much, much more data, much more personalization, and then we adjust the solution to the person based on his habits.
So it's an ongoing process. It's like when you were talking about machine learning, it's exactly what your system is doing. It's learning by itself, and the more clients you have, the more your statistics and algorithm will be accurate and get to the certain point. I think that this is the path of the future, because we're there's a lot of money floating into longevity and life improvement and everything like that. But we see today that markers, biomarkers, feedback, health, overall wellness, psychology as well, and you're going to talk about that in a minute, but the sleep is important. So all these things are coming now to the community, to the society, telling them, listen, it's very simple to live better and longer, but you have to do the work. So you're there to help them to do the work.
We do. I mean, listen, there's a couple of things, and that's something we discussed. I think for me, one of the words of 2021 was when people stop talking about anti-aging, and start calling it better aging, because you can't stop aging. Aging will happen. But you and I, we're not fighting aging. We are making sure the quality of our living is as good as possible.
Exactly. I want to live up to 150, but I want to live in a condition that I can have a life and not be some sort of tree or plant or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this is something that you and I are working on. What we are working on is longevity by itself is not enough. It's about the quality of life.
I agree.
How can I sustain quality of life? The moment I see deficiencies in my body, the earlier I see them, the easier I can stop them and then restore them at an optimal level. This is the reason when people talking about, hey, I do a checkup once a year. I mean, great. But you know how many things can happen between 12 months? This is something I can understand. I see on myself somebody who's health conscious, who's in the industry, who's tracking everything the possible thing. Even in myself, I see October, November were bad months for me. I traveled too much, didn't sleep enough, my diet was not on point.
And the sun is not there as well, so it doesn't help.
It doesn't help. Then like work-life balance didn't exist for me. So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you know what? I really needed the vacation because I restored again. I much quicker regenerate and can start again. So there's like the restoration process is quicker. Then I realized all those things I get over a month, 2 months, 3 months period. I can't wait. I don't have the luxury to wait for 12 months to understand what goes inside. I need instant feedback loops to understand what I need to adjust. So I think we as people, we're becoming more and more aware of instant gratification in social media. You do a post, you want to see how many people watched it, you want to see how many people liked it, how many comments. Well, let's switch that up. Let's get instant notifications on your health.
On your, yeah, it's way more important.
Way more for it. Like I think you and I probably shared this with you, and if not, one of my number one things when I go to conferences or I have calls or talks, I always go on stage, and when I see that the room is not really listening at this given moment, I ask people, where's a car? And some people raise their hand. I'm like, what kind of car do you have? And they're like, I have a Tesla. I'm like, what kind of model? And they're like, what Model S? They're like, how many horsepower? Like 220. Yeah. I'm like, what kind of blood type do you have? They're like, I have no idea.
I have no idea. Yeah.
And
the matter, yeah,
people don't know what goes inside of them.
That's the materialistic side of our society. We want to show the world what we could be or pretend to be, but we don't even know who we are inside. Yeah.
So you and I are here on the same point. We have the same vision, and this is what we're trying to change. We're trying to change people's approach to not know so much about their phone or something they're going to throw away in 2 years, but actually find out more what goes on inside of them.
Yeah, and put the sorry for that. Put the importance on who behind the scene you truly are, because this is the way that you live. If you're not happy when you go to bed, there's something's wrong in your life, and you have to take action for that. You can post whatever and be popular on social media, but if you go to bed and you're crying because you're not happy, it doesn't work. So that's the thing. Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is the world that I see, especially with generation a little bit younger than me. So I would say probably 35 and younger that react to this too strongly because they set this unrealistic targets for themselves in terms of looks, beauty, happiness. And this is something that we have to come in and be like, hey, let's take care. So one thing that was huge last year was mental health.
Oh, yeah, and because of the COVID, of course. So that's one of the topic I wanted to talk with you, the COVID and BioniQ. How does that work?
So it's very great fit. So COVID started in our markets that we were in beginning of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, it was so new, and so everybody was so scared. Especially in the UK, they start canceling the nurses visits because they didn't want to see anything. They were sitting at home, closed doors. Then people realized, you know what? People who are healthy are having a better experience when they do get COVID in terms of getting back on their
going through, right?
And then there came out all those reports where like vitamin C or zinc or vitamin D or K is helping you. And there was like all this rage. So we've experienced a lot of results and demands from people who were like, hey, we want to start supplementation because we heard it's good to prevent COVID, or if you go through COVID, go through better. Once that all happened, then the second wave hit us, where people after 3, 4, 5 months in isolation, they're like, I don't even care about anything. I am just mentally, I am so unstable. I'm insecure. I'm not sure I want to talk to people. I'm not sure if I will talk to people. I'm not sure if I will hug people. And we start getting feedback of people questioning everything what they've been doing.
Yeah, the trust went out. Yeah, it disappeared. Even the trust in themselves, and the psychopathology started to raise, and people were depressed. And there's still a lot of people in trouble with that. How did you react to that? Yeah.
So that comes the important part. So we started looking at mental well-being, and one of the things we realized that around 20 to 25% of all people who are clinically diagnosed as depressed, Their depressions their depressions are stemming from physical pain.
Yeah,
So
of course.
So you think you're depressed because something's not going right or something, but actually you're depressed because something in your body's basically sending you a signal, hey, something is wrong. So what we realize is, hey, before talking about mental well-being, before talking about fighting depressions, before talking about how we can heal the mental aspect, let's make sure that on a physical level, we are healthy. So this is our the first step.
First.
Find out more about yourself.
Yeah.
When we took care of this part, let's take care of this part.
Yeah. And they go together. Yeah.
They go.
Yeah.
And the good thing that happened, I realized in the last couple of years, people start looking at mental well-being like training, like physical. If you used to have a personal trainer, now you go to psychology. I'm sure psychology. So I think the world is opening up to mental well-being as a muscle. I can train my muscle. Now I can train my state of mind. So this is something that we realized. We start partnering with partners at clinics in this regard. And this is something of a service where mental well-being will certainly keep on growing as part of your overall health.
It's going to be a bit more touchy because the psychological aspect is not like there is no quantitative measurement that you can do directly. So the bridge between like pills and supplement that how many grams or micrograms are into it, to the phase of helping people to manage their thought and their well-being in their mind. It's a big step, but that's a fantastic challenge actually. If you can join both, you make people probably more apt or more prepared to be better and to live longer and to live better and to live in a way that it's appropriate for well-being. Yeah.
The thing that we see is the moment your body has less deficiencies, it doesn't have to fight the deficiencies. It can actually work on optimizing itself.
Optimizing. So, do you call that biohacking?
So biohacking, I call for me, biohacking is finding the most efficient way to improve yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So biohacking, bio is life, and hack, how can I get a quicker result by still doing something that is natural enough for my body to repeat by itself. So this is very important to me. I was very, very concerned when people started using the word biohacking and started throwing pills inside of them or giving themselves shots of growth hormone. This is not biohacking. This is idiotism.
This is killing you.
This is the word. This is Instagram.
Yeah.
You do this for this photo, and then you're going to be in the hospital 3 years later, paying the price that your hormones don't adjust to your normal lifestyle anymore. So for me, it was very important to explain to people is you can hack your life naturally by giving your body what it needs in terms of deficiencies to then allow your body to focus on
to improve.
So this is the very important part. So I think this is where we're going to right now. It's people are like, oh my God, my vitamin D is low. You give me vitamin D, it goes up. There is no magic to it. It doesn't.
No, that's
your vitamin D goes up. Your immune system improves. Your overall health improves. Your cholesterol goes down. Your energy level rises. You work out more. You feel better. Your mental health gets better.
Exactly.
You come into a room, you smile. You see people feel your energy, and that's what happens.
Yeah, we're one. Actually, we're made of one system that has to be optimized in one way, not just a part of it, not just the brain or just the body. It has to be overall optimized. This is interesting because people need to understand that there is one burden that you're going to face when you're going to go into the American market. When you talk about the magic pill, North America, they want the magic pill for everything. It's like, I'm not feeling good. Where is the magic pill for that? I'm depressed. There is a magic pill that can help me. So we prescribe in North America so many shitty stuff instead of trying to improve lives. So this is one of the challenges you're going to face soon. Different.
Listen, I've been there. I lived in the US for 5 years. I played professional sports.
It's true.
I've been to the stores where they promise you overnight results. I've been to the before and after photo shoots, magazines where you're like, oh my God. Listen, the one thing that is for us very important, we don't have to promise you anything in our company because you do a blood test before, then you take BioniQ, and then you do a blood test after. We let the results speak for itself. If BioniQ doesn't work, you will see it.
And why it wouldn't work?
No, but I'm just explaining. Like, I don't need to give you a wonder pill because all I need to do is you do a blood test, see what goes on inside. The problem is for example, statistics, 82% of women have too low of iron levels.
True.
And iron levels depends on your energy levels. So if you feel physically trained, that means most likely your red blood cells are not traveling. You are, fatigued. Half of the women who have low iron levels are already taking iron supplements right now.
Right.
But they are obviously not working, not being absorbed, not the right dosage or the right format. So this is when you talk to me about the US wants a wonder pill. Well, we're not a wonder pill because we only give you what you need.
You show the path and the door where you have to go and open that door and do the job, do the work. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah. Responsibility.
It's responsible. When people ask me, how long should I take BioniQ? I'm like, how long do you plan on eating healthy and sleeping well? They're like, how fast do I see results? I'm like, you see results after 2 to 4 months once we have enough information on you to make sure this actually is what you need. So this is a very important part of this. I could tomorrow create a nice packaging, put marketing budget behind it. We raised enough money to make a big marketing campaign, but there is no long-term benefit, neither for you as a client, for us as a company. And if that doesn't change, we are disrupting the market by showcasing what works for you and what doesn't work for you.
It's true. I love that concept, and I think that's the way it is. It has to be because our society has changed because of COVID, of course, but we are becoming more open to this type of solution that helps us. And we are like, gyms are closed. People, instead of sitting on the couch, they decided to do workout at home. So they do the work for their health. They've been doing the same thing, improving the way that they were feeding themselves, avoiding food and making grow anything to be able to have their own sustainable food. So I think our society is moving towards that. One of the things that we don't master and will never master, I guess for now, we can ask David Sinclair about it, but it's senescent cells, the one that are killing us in a way. And I've recently read that senescent cell act like old people in a society, putting it down, saying that it's too late and things like that. So. Looking at all these things, you're trying to improve lives all over the planet. Now you went through a very interesting business approach with data acquisition. Why don't you tell us what is the strategy behind that acquisition and why you acquired that group of companies, actually?
So yes, we have recently announced that we acquired a company in Germany called LOEWI that are present in European markets. The mission of BioniQ is to make health accessible and actionable. And the goal is to be a global health engine. By health engine, is we want to assemble enough data to provide the most customized solutions to you. What I need for that is to make sure that we have data points from all continents, and the more data points, the better. So this acquisition allowed us to be more present in the European market, to have more data points on the European population, to better adjust the products that we receive, and to better understand what those populations need in this geography. So this is a step for us in our global expansion.
Okay.
To be present and to understand better what each continent and population in this exact instance.
So what were they doing before, and how's this integration is gonna go? Because they have to do what you're doing, unless they were doing it, which I doubt.
Yeah. So yes, what they were doing before, they were doing blood tests through home kits,
Okay.
blood test home kits. So the data they would receive, from the analysis, 12 of their biomarkers that they received are quite important to us in terms of a data analysis. So we can use part of that biochemical database to overall improve the algorithms that we discussed prior and better understand the needs of this population and this geography.
I see.
For this, it expedites the process of gaining data and traction into geography, because as I told you, the more data you have, the less data you need.
Yeah.
The more data information I have about something, the less data I need. So for you as a client, at some point, instead of 50 blood parameters and 28 blood parameters, I will need 10. Because I can forecast the needs that you have based on the population, the location that you're in, or other people are similar to you, like a lookalike system.
Okay. What do you do with the people that feel that they're unique and they don't fit? Because we're talking about data and statistics and algorithms, so we're trying to globalize all. Yeah. And let's say I'm different.
You are different, and this is the reason why you do the blood test. You are different. This is the reason why you do the blood test. Because of the blood test, your product will be as unique as you are. Some people who are saying, I want to be customized, but I understand that it will not be personalized completely, they will go for a more affordable, more accessible model. But you are, with your mindset, of course, you go for the most extensive research and the most personalized product.
That's
right. Like you or me. That's normal.
Yeah.
We all adjust.
Yeah, and it's good. So I love this this big step you took. You started from Dubai, you extended to Europe. Now you're stepping into North America. Do you have a plan? And do you have plan to integrate some like biofeedback tools that you would have the ownership of?
So we're looking at different things we want to integrate. At the end of the day, we want to be a recommendation platform. So we don't want to own the tools. We want to partner with the tools on the platform. So this is very important. But I'm talking to the entire market. Everybody who comes up with ideas from patches for glucose to integration in terms of your internal blood parameter or temperatures to the newest technology, what goes on in terms of face tracking mechanisms. I can based on your face see the efficiency that you have. So this is all those things. We integrate all of this to provide you more and more information about yourself. So we are super interested in any sort of sourcing to improve the recommendation that you will receive as a client.
Yeah, that's excellent. I've seen recently that you can measure cortisol level by sweat. So all these things are more and more integrated, and as a professional sport guy like you were before, those things are like super important. The future is bright. I
would have wished I played professionally 13 years ago. The data that they have now. On every time they work out, on every sport, on any workout, on any lift, this is incredible. It's impeccable. The reason you will see a giant momentum in terms of performance going forward is because of the adjustments that you can now do on a workout regimen and on the needs of each athlete. I think we will see new heights, new speeds, everything's going on just because of the capability of adjusting to the person.
Yeah, we're not only improving health, we're improving human performances all the way. I agree on that 100%. What about meditation, relaxation, and the things that are going aside of sleep, but are very important for health and well-being? Do you monitor these as factor important for BioniQ, or they're on the side and just recommendation?
They are part of the wellness and the mental well-being part of things. We have, as of now, we're not integrated with those partnerships. It's part of the recommendations people receive, especially people who have problems with sleeping. There's breathing techniques that can calm you down before you go into bed. So inhale through the nose, hold it for 5 seconds, exhale, all those techniques. This is part of it. We're not as deep in it in terms of the integration side of things, but it's part of the recommendation that we do.
I see. That's very cool. One day probably you're gonna come up with the full program, like from you wake up in the morning and you do all this step until you go to bed to improve your health overall. So yeah, I love the path that your company is taking. I always look at what you're doing as a businessman. I'm so
Thank you, Jean.
I admire you. Yeah, honestly.
I can't wait to see you. So again,
Yeah.
this is the year we already signed 22 clinics in the northeast of the US.
Wow.
We're preparing our first pop-up in Manhattan for a couple of months from today.
This is crazy. Yeah, this is cool. This is very cool. Yeah.
Coming. We're signed official partnerships with the UFC. So there's a lot of stuff going on that we're doing in different markets, and hopefully we can expand this very, very soon to North Americas.
Vadim, do you think that one day you're going to go public?
I think, listen, anybody with a startup, they have certain ideas and thoughts. And the moment you believe that you create a technology that can disrupt the market, this is the moment that you believe that an IPO might
be. Yeah. Well,
I think the percentile of companies that get it to an IPO is very, very low, but that doesn't stop us from trying. So we're definitely believing that the technology and the approach is something that can be of value to a lot of people around the world, and that way would make it maybe possible for us to even take it that far.
Yeah, well, anyway, you go IPO or public, maybe, but now when you see all these investment groups that are flooding money in everything related to health and well-being, you can go with private capital and private equity as well and grow tremendously in the same way, because you're ambitious, you're successful, and your ambition has no limit. So you're gonna need one day or the other a bigger support if you want to conquer this world the way that you're saying that you will do. And thanks God, because everyone will get benefit out of it.
Thank you, Jean. Thank you. Listen, with friends like you and support that I get from you, we're definitely in the right track. So thank you so much.
Vadim, was a fantastic pleasure having you. I thank you so much for being here. I know that you're flying and going back and forth, so be safe on the flight. Enjoy everything you do. I cannot wait to see you in New York very soon.
Very soon. Great. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you all. Cheers.
Thank you, buddy.